Hunt 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by
This is going to be a cool show, people. Today we got Tracker John with, and from everything I have heard, this guy is the tracker for the celebrities.
Well, I've been at it a long time, so.
And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to figure out, I'm going to ask him a handful of questions, and we're going to learn about dogs today. First off, John, when should somebody go out and get a tracking, contact somebody with a tracking dog?
Well, if finding the deer is a must-have, really the ideal time would be the moment you know you or suspect you have a problem. That would be the time to contact somebody.
And why is that so important? Because I'm pretty sure I know the punchline coming up here, but why?
Okay, it may not necessarily be that you need to jump on it right away, but you can, with what information you have, you can best plot the best way to go about it, when to go about it, before the track has been further disturbed. So if you called me, I might say, well, maybe we do need to track right now and we're going to get on it, or it might be a hit such that time is our friend and we'll give it a little bit of time and then go in later. But we're still not disturbing it. Perhaps the deer's bedded down. We want him to stay there. We don't want to complicate what might be relatively easy.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting at. I'm going to guess that, let's say I go ahead and I liver shoot a deer today, and I don't give it the amount of time I'm supposed to, and I go tromping all around. I'm trying to find, I find blood, and I'm standing in the bed, and now I'm creating all sorts of chaos for your animal.
Correct. I mean, as far as the dog goes, if you are standing in that blood, now you've got the blood on your boots, and as you traipse around, you're basically laying secondary little blood trails. Now, depending on what the hit is, if there's a lot of scent emanating off the deer and it really is a mortal wound and there's lots for the dog to work with, all that probably won't even matter. But if it is a little iffier and the hit is a little on the border and it's a little tougher for the dog to follow, then adding those additional distractions is just hurting your cause. There will be times where I get called in early where, we go a short distance and there's your deer, okay?
Yep.
There is that possibility, but you've stacked the odds in your favor. If it doesn't turn out that way, okay, there we are, and we've maximized your chances of recovering your deer. So how do you want to play it? You want to trample all over it in the hopes that you can find it yourself, but yet lower your odds if we do have to get called in, or do you want to maximize things in your favor?
Please, you're the expert. This is the first time I've ever seen a dog work, and I was, color me, thoroughly impressed.
Well, great.
As someone who has never hired a tracker in my life, how do you go about finding somebody? But I'm just barely smart enough to realize there's some really good, and there's some ones out there that, man, I think I could probably do a better job myself.
Well, unfortunately, that may be true. And so, like anything else, a referral is probably your best bet. If somebody's used somebody and they had good results, well, that's probably the way to go about it. But otherwise, how to find someplace now in this day and age with the internet and social media, and there's all kinds of websites and whatnot, but there you don't truly know who you're dealing with, and so there might be some of that.
And an extremely unfair question about what % of the deer that you honestly believe are dead do they find?
Oh, if I honestly believe they're dead, we just about get them all. It's pretty rare to miss something. By and large, my business is all referrals, and it's basically all for trophy class bucks. So I'm going to accept calls and try on calls where, I don't think we're getting this deer, but he's just a monster. We've got to try. I want you to prove it's not dead. Mm-hmm. So you take a bunch of those, and your recovery rate is not going to look too spectacular. And that's okay with me.
Oh, Oh, of course. Yeah.
But you've got to accept that the ratio that you're going to recover then is not going to be as if you were cherry picking your calls.
And I know it's really easy for somebody to say in a situation, no, I believe 100% of the deer that are dead. I've watched this guy work. I actually read people. I don't get that you're an exaggerator by any stretch
No, I'm
of
a
the
pretty
imagination.
straight shooter, and I've done this long enough to know that, well, I always say, do you want to talk possibilities or probabilities?
Yeah.
Two very different things, and over the decades I've been doing this, I mean, I've seen shots that they should have killed a deer. I call them medical miracles. Somehow they didn't, and if they didn't, you're not going to get the deer.
Every gut shot deer dies. Every single gut shot deer dies.
Pretty
but
much
yet-
true.
But yet I shot one in the guts and killed it 3 years later.
Yes, there are
And
very rare
scars
exceptions.
on both. I
Yes.
mean, no.
Yes, but that's about as rare as hen's teeth.
Yes,
a gut shot that doesn't die.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. Final thoughts brought to you by Huntworth. We're here with Tracker John. We're talking using animals to find deer, and I'm telling you, this guy's dogs are as good as. Really quick, John, when should somebody go get your help, and what shouldn't you do before you get it?
If absolutely you need to recover that deer, you should be calling the tracker the moment you suspect you've got a problem. Things not to do are bumbling all over the trail, just blind searching and sweeping and hoping you can find it. But other than that, absolutely have landmarks where you saw the deer. If you do some trailing, mark the trail. I like to use toilet paper. It's biodegradable. Yep. That gives the tracker something to start with to orient the dog. And it's a good practice even if the dog isn't involved. But those things I would say would be a good start.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.